finale, and step. Your grand finale, bring it! As a dutiful maid would, I must leave no stone unturned. Strike a pose! Time to shine! And step. Strike is one. Let the mountain's veins boil! Time to clean up. Leave it all to me. Observe! Bring it! Let the world collide! Unleash your grand finale!
Hear the echoes of the valley!
As a dutiful maid would, steady as stone. Unleash! Shower me with praise! Let my name echo in song! Observe! Break a leg!
Letting brave names echo!
As a good knight should.
If you decide to get C2 Xilonen, which again you don't need to, your Geo characters will start doing quite a bit more damage, but more importantly, it actually unlocks some new team comps that would otherwise seem really counterintuitive, like for example running Xilonen without a second PHEC character. Before C2, if you wanted to play Support Xilonen, which most people want to do, and in order to heal and red shred probably, you do need to have 2 PHEC characters on the team. The only exception when it came to normal Xilonen team comps was of course DPS Xilonen, but now with C2, Triple Geo team comps with her suddenly become actually viable, and I've tested 3 of them that work really well, but there's also a 4th that I haven't been able to test, mainly because I don't have the main character on that team. Now, let's remind ourselves what C2 Xilonen is all about when it comes to Geo characters. So, she gives 2 major buffs. The first thing is that the Geo source sample is actually a permanently active thing. And the second thing is, of course, the Geo buff being plus 50% damage. So, your Geo characters will get that passive res shred and consistent damage percent just by having her exist in the team. She's basically like the Baiju C2 for a lot of Geo comps, in the sense that you don't even have to swap to her. So if Geo ever gets a spot on the speedrun leaderboards, oh yeah, C2 plus Xilonen is probably going to be a pretty major part of that. But the rest of us who still want to actually play our characters will find that Xilonen will end up being on field for a little bit, because there's a few other effects that she can still trigger, but she does need to be on field for them, mainly Favonius particle generation, crystallizing in order to get the scroll buff. You do need to do 2 normal attacks in order to achieve the Peak Patrol song buff, and then of course there is a burst damage, which you could potentially use because in a Triple Geo team, for example, her burst is not healing. Her burst is actually in DPS mode, so maybe that's something you can utilize instead. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention in the last video, but these videos are going to be a continuation of the Xilonen series of videos, where I look at how Xilonen is broken in 25 ways to Sunday. And in this arc, we are of course deep diving into each one of the C2 buffs, because I think that's really interesting. So don't forget to subscribe for the latest videos on the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified of the next ones. Now, let's talk about team comps. First off, a Triple Geo Noelle team. This is probably the most obvious team that you're going to use with C2 Xilonen, at least when it comes to Geo characters. Xilonen already works really well as a Noelle support, and now she doesn't even need a second PHEC character. What does that mean? It means we can start using Yunjin or C6 Goro again. So that's really cool. Now, in my experience, I found that the standard Xilonen build of running Fav, Scroll, and as much crit rate as possible pretty much is actually the way to go for a team like this. Especially if you're going to run someone like Yunjin or Goro, where maybe you don't have a second Fav on there, although you tend to run Favs with Goro. That way you can also potentially battery someone like Farina on the team as well. Either way, this is a really simple team to use, because you have an extremely tanky and very high damaging character called Noelle, who is able to just absolutely pop off. Hey guys, this is Kate the Editor. I was recently reminded of another kind of team that also involves Noelle. This is of course Plunge Noelle with someone like Shen Yun. Because Shen Yun is an anime character, she basically counts as part of the not a FEC character part of C2 Xilonen. So in this case, yeah, we have Plunge, good old-fashioned Noelle. Now, I keep forgetting that Plunge Noelle is a thing, but it is actually a pretty legitimate playstyle in my opinion. In fact, with Noelle in particular, I like to call it La Guillotine, because look at the way that Noelle plunges. She's a guillotine. Some people have also mentioned previously Plunge Navia. I actually find Plunge Navia to be a little bit more finicky than Plunge Noelle. That's just my personal preference, but either way, yeah, Plunge Noelle is 100% a very legitimate option. Also, just as a side note, here's an idea you could try: a QuickSwap Noelle and DPS Xilonen team with Kachina as the third Geo character, as a way of just buffing the two DPSs, well actually everyone actually, with the scroll buff. Yeah, that could be really good as well. I personally haven't tested it yet, but it's an idea. So there we go. Meanwhile, we have something like the Navia Ningguang Triple Geo Rocket Barrage team. This comp is just ability spam. You will want to bring a healer because Xilonen is not healing in this team, but otherwise you can just basically cycle between Ningguang and Navia for like every action. That's basically how I've been playing a team like this on basically any Navia Ningguang team. Gate into shotgun, into micro missiles, into gate again, into shotgun, into cannons, into micro missiles, into gate, into, you know, you get the idea. Basically, like, you can just repeat and battery everyone in the team by just Navia and Ningguang as well. You kind of don't need Favj, but at the same time you might as well use Favj on Xilonen. There's no such thing as rotation in this team. It's a random bullcrap go. And then finally we do have, of course, the standard Double Geo team. It could be with Ningguang, it could be with Navia, but this is just a much more traditional setup. You're probably already used to this kind of setup if you're a Navia main playing with Xilonen before you get C2, if you even choose to get C2, that is. But either way, this is a team that still works really, really well. In fact, it works better because obviously now we have that plus 50% Geo damage bonus, so that's really, really nice. I do want to mention, ever since the last time I talked about a team like this, there was of course a character that showed up that is really, really nice for this team, Ian-san. So there we go. I have actually had some success running Ian-san as the attack buffer on this team for Navia and or Ningguang, so someone you can try out. As a bonus, I do want to just mention real quick, Mono Geo. Because you don't actually have to swap to Xilonen to get Xilonen's buffs in C2 Xilonen teams with all the Geo characters, this actually works. Now keep in mind, if you're going up against enemies with no auras, then the scroll part of Xilonen's build pretty much flies out the window. So at that point, you may want to consider a different set. Noblesse? Because at least with like Noelle and Itto, they still technically scale off attack, so Noblesse is still technically useful. Definitely a little bit more versatile than running scroll. But if you are going up against enemies with auras, then obviously scroll is pretty much the way. So yeah, C2 Xilonen at the end of the day is not just bigger numbers. For Geo carries, it's actually like an opening up of just different Geo team comps that are probably a little bit more traditional than the previous Geo team comps with Xilonen prior to C2. So you can kind of go back to form if that's something you're used to, and you can have a much better time. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. How do you want to play a Geo team with C2 Xilonen if you have C2 Xilonen, or even if you don't? How would you use it if you had it? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more engaging epic action, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
注意骑士的风度，交给我吧。来吧。